All right, awesome. So we'll just get started, everybody. Thank you again so much for coming today. If you don't know me, I'm Valerie Caña. I'm a senior designer at PaceSign and your usual host for the UX/UI Meetup. I see a lot of familiar faces and then a lot of new faces too, so welcome. So last month, me and my coworker Sophia actually were able to go to the Config Figma conference in San Francisco. Abby, my friend Abby, was also there. Just did not know you were there. That's such a missed opportunity. But I thought it'd be a great time to basically give you a fun slideshow of our time there. If you haven't been to this convention before, I wanted to show you what we experienced because it was also my first time. It was very exciting. And then we'll also talk about like all of the Figma updates. All right, so like I said, so first I'll go over the in-person benefits of the conference. You can watch all of the sessions online on demand. So I really recommend that if you didn't get to yet. But you know, we did pay, well, I paid like $175 for this early bird. And then I think the typical price was like $400, just like to let you all know, maybe you want to think about that next year. And there are like a lot of things that you get when you go in person. We'll talk about some of the conference sessions, and then I really want to get to know your opinion on all of the Figma updates. Afterwards, we'll have time for questions and then just like general networking with everybody. So yeah. All right, so we started, here in Vegas, flew to SF. It was located at the Moscone Center in San Francisco. They decorated the building so beautifully. And I think out of like all of the conferences I've been to, even including Adobe Max, the branding design of this event was just absolutely primo. The first day, so this is day 0, like the actual conference was Wednesday and Thursday, but the day before that they have an event called Config Commons at the Ubuntu Park, which is like right next to the center. So I was able to take just some pictures. There was like a lot of things happening, like screen printing. I didn't get to do that, so that's why I took like creepy pictures of other people wearing the shirt, if you could see here. And then they also got to screen print their like handkerchiefs, and then these girls like wore it on their heads. Super cute. Everybody got these fun config bags in different colors, and then they also had an opportunity to do some typewriter poetry. I wasn't there for that, unfortunately, but I heard that was super fun. And there was also a Figma research tank where they asked people. Basically, it was just like an open forum about people's opinions and what they can do better. So it was actually a very exciting, bumping time. I don't know like any other descriptor. There was a lot of dancing, there was a live DJ set. They even made a couple of songs about their features, like auto layout, and they played that in the park. If that was too much for people, they created this sensory reset area tent, so you can go in, play with some sensory toys like some sand, like squishy balls. They had like earplugs and eye masks, just in case it became too much for people. Here's the Figma research tank I was talking about earlier, where they sat people down and talked with them. Then there was also the Bosco photo booth, and then here's me and Sophia, like with our. Unfortunately, I don't do very well with photo booths, but here we go. They had like a lot of fun like cardboard cutouts of like nicely designed large stickers that you can use and switch out for this photo booth. There was also several open bars in that park, which I'm sure like a lot of people like really took advantage of. I mean, I definitely did. Food-wise, I wish I got a picture of everything, but they had things like pita wraps and like Korean bowls. empanadas, ice cream. So they really made sure that we were fed this whole time, and I did appreciate that because, you know, tickets aren't cheap. And then over here you can see what I was talking about. They have this live DJ, and then people were dancing until dark, which is a really fun thing to see because I just don't normally see like other industry professionals really like loosen up and have fun with each other, and people really were. This is day one. So this is like the main convention hall where they gave the keynotes, and that's where the CEO and founder like gave all of the Figma updates, and he also had other people from his executive leadership team showcase those features. This is an image of a smaller stage at the pavilion. So I wish I got a few more pictures of this, but you can see they had like a giant booth just for Fig Jam where people were able to write on giant sticky notes, like put these emojis everywhere. People were tagging themselves. People were advertising that they were hiring or looking for jobs, or just sharing plugins that they've made. And it just became like a beautiful mess on these walls. You can also see over here there's like a ton of people in this pavilion, so that's why I didn't get like such a clear picture, because there was like thousands of people. That is one of my complaints or critiques for this conference, is that I don't think they had enough things to do, or at least didn't have enough sessions that were staggered so that you felt like you could breathe. Everyone was kind of like herd into into the session, into the pavilion all at one time. So it did become pretty chaotic there. They did have a couple of cool activations. The first one on the left here is aura photography. So you like put your hands onto these like metal boxes, and then they just tell you to like think happy thoughts, be calm, and then your aura is supposed to show up in a Polaroid photo. And then going back to how long things were, like people were waiting like 3 hours just to do this. Also 3 hours to do, 3 hours also just to get into the Figma like merch store. And that's crazy. That really reminded me of Disneyland, just to get into somewhere, just to pay more things, but to each their own. And then you waited like another 3 hours to do these fun like bag customizations. So like I said, like everything was like very nicely designed, but I think this is only their second conference in history. So I think people will be. I mean, I definitely like submitted some feedback about that they need to do way more things or stagger things out. But overall, like super fun. They did provide us lunch for these 2 days. Here's the lunch area, a lot of people. They had other things like chopped taco salad, steak, sandwiches, a lot of vegan options. And that was also really difficult to get to. And also like you two, you can definitely chime in whenever. But yeah, super difficult to get to, but I guess if you're patient and were able to get over your hangriness, you were able to get it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and because you either had to steal lunch from a cart that they left upstairs, or like accidentally, or they only had this one area where they like herded all the thousands of people into one line. Yeah. This is crazy. Yeah. Seriously. But yeah. On the second day, I just wanted to share this because I like in the pavilion, there's like a series of steps, and they're very slippery. And I was not the only one, but I slipped on it and sprained my ankle, which is why like they had the EMT come get me, and then my my whole like foot and ankle were completely numb for like several days, and I just could not walk on it. Even now, like it's like, you know, that's weeks later. But I did want to say it was very interesting because the Figma people, like they saw that, they were there, you know, they took the pictures and like asked me to do this report, you know, basically saying that they're not really liable, I suppose. And they did give me a goodie bag of like Figma merch, I guess just to shut me up. Yeah, exactly. I got like 2 pairs of socks, 2 hats, like 2 pins. I shared it with Sophia because she ended up being my... No, not even that. Yeah, that should have been that. Yeah. It should have been. Yeah. But thankfully they had 1 scooter left for me. So I had to enjoy the rest of my day just on the scooter, going to the like ADA accessible like seating of every session. And yeah, and you know, I always knew I'm not a great driver, and I'm an even worse driver on a scooter. So yeah, and like people had to carry me out of the elevator. Yeah. Oh, so embarrassing. And then unfortunately I didn't get to do as much networking in a scooter. People just like felt bad for me the whole time. But then I did meet somebody else who was in a scooter, and he's an accessibility expert, and he had a whole long list of things Figma really does need to improve upon. Like it's not like not all of the volunteers were on board with like letting, you know, for ADA accessible people, like they get to cut in line. They did not all let them do that. Or like there's not like clear walkways for them to go back and forth. And going back to our note of there's 18,000 people, they felt like they were getting trampled on because there was no like side paths for them. They did have translations and sign language for every session. So that was, you know, a good note or a good thing that they did. But as far as like mobility, accessibility, yeah, I guess it was kind of like lacking that department. And yeah, so I wouldn't have been able to enjoy the second day of the conference if not for this very last scooter. There's also plenty of after-hours meetups. Unfortunately, I did not get to do the second day because I had to just rest in my hotel room. But the first day was pretty fun. Like me and Sophia went to, which one did we went to again? The
It was the, what is their name?
I know, it's like somewhere in here.
AI company.
Yeah, I think it was
What are they called? They have a funny name.
they did have a fun, I think Luma. Oh no, the Pave Happy Hour. I think we did this. Yeah. But yeah, so in my opinion, like there's not a lot of time to network during the conference, but all of the magic happens outside of it. And like there are meetups where you could play basketball with Dan Mall, who's like, an expert in design systems, or you could, you could rock climb with people the first day, or do like a really early morning jog over the bridge with some others. And then there's other meetups that, are specific for like industry leaders. So I think that's honestly like a third of them. Oh, we went to the Superside Connect meetup.
Oh, yes.
So that was cool. So, and they had like free hors d'oeuvres, and I think like discounts on drinks, stuff like that. And that was cool. And then I don't know if any of you know Grace from Design Buddies, but we got to meet her too. So all of the the influencers that you'd see in LinkedIn, like they're all here. They all like collaborate with one another to provide like several different meetups. There was also a supper club that I really wanted to do as well. But if you're planning on going next year, really just keep an eye on that calendar, because we had no idea about it until the end, and just kind of RSVP'd for whatever we could get. As far as sessions, there's different tracks. So there's day 1, and there's 4 different tracks, and then day 2, 4 different tracks. But they had a lot of design system talks, which I really appreciated. One of my favorite ones was the one from BBC, and they talked about creating and maintaining a design system for international teams, because they had teams in like New York and then back in the UK. That was just like an excellent thing where they really like dug deep and went into their files and talked about how they named everything, how they developed everything. That was beautiful. United Airlines also had a really great design system talk. And yeah, so I really recommend those. The Figma deep dives were deep dives about like the new feature updates. Design craft, I went to like a few of those. Like, even though we are like UX designers, it is nice to see things outside of product. And like we had this, we met like several designers like joking about how we all used to love print, and like that was our like baby back in the day, and then we gave it up. But it was nice to see like Jessica Hish, and then what is her name? Emily, the motion designer, and they really just reinvigorated our love for design in general. I didn't go to any of the product management talks, but that's really interesting. I didn't actually meet a whole lot of product managers there. And I also didn't meet too many developers, but it seemed like those sessions were pretty full. There was a track about just building products in general. Like they had some toy designers, toys that like use AI. I know, Sophia, you went to the hardware design where they created the new like Figma shortcut keyboard, and it kind of looks like a Twitch streamer's deck, but it's all Figma-fied. Sold out at the conference, of course.
It's sold out today.
Oh, it's also that. Yeah, because it's really beautiful. And then lastly, they also had AI and innovation. The talks I went to, honestly, they were fine. They were very vague. They were mostly like, I think I went to 3 of them, and they all talked about how to train your chatbot. So, I mean, I get that's really important. That is important. It's just interesting that they were all about like kind of like the same thing, and teaching your model how to speak more colloquially, and yeah, like training it to speak more casually, and like and just talking about the nuances of language and what that means to different people. So, but yeah, all pretty interesting. Here's just like an example, a screenshot of the agenda. So you could just see that they had the different tracks, but they all, there's only 4 of them at a time, and it's not really staggered too much. But I think it's probably just better to watch the sessions like on your own online anyway.
Yeah, their platform, I was trying to navigate it, and their website was struggling like the day of.
Oh yeah.
I didn't plan ahead, so I was looking, trying to see which sessions I would want to join. Half of them were already full, and then when I did try to sign up for some, the website was bugging, so I was like, I'm just going to have to watch this on YouTube. I had that problem.
Yeah, 2x speed anyway. We can get through it. And I know during the presentations, a lot of people wanted to log into this presenter's slides. Yeah, do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And they had to keep like denying requests like over and over and over again in the keynote. Yeah. He did, yeah.
That's because he freaking left the URL open.
Yeah.
So I didn't just copy and paste. I was like, you could just hide that.
Right.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know why he didn't just like expand the window into full screen, but I know. He's a young guy, it's okay.
He's just the founder of it.
Yeah, he's just the founder. Okay. Here's some of the keynote speakers. So here's a founder, Dylan Fields. Again, like really young guy, very interesting. I really liked Jesper, I can't pronounce his last name, Kodoft, Teenage Engineering. But he just had a very, it is what it is attitude, Like he wasn't trying to like impress anybody. He was just himself. I particularly really liked Simone Gerritz. and she is a robotics enthusiast. So she started off with making really bad robot designs, but they're very comical, and then posting that on YouTube. So she started off like that, and then started making like actual like very beautiful products, and like they're in the MoMA now. And yeah, she was just very inspiring about like, whatever you want to build, you should just try it, even if it's bad at first. And you're going to have a lot of bad iterations, but at least you can laugh about it, and then you can just move on to the next thing. I think, oh yeah, there was also a comedian. That was okay.
It was okay.
Yeah. She was okay. I think because she was trying to make a lot of designer jokes, but maybe because she like isn't one, or maybe because it's too forced, like it didn't flow very well. Yeah, but it's okay. Still a nice person.
It was entertaining.
Yeah.
It was a day.
All right, and then I'm just going to like briefly go over some of the Figma updates, but then I really want to like throw this conversation back to everybody about what you're excited about. But there was a huge focus on Figma AI, and the first feature is like you can wire up your prototype instantly, so it can, if you like hover over different frames and then click on make prototype, then it can estimate where all of your flows should be. I guess based on the text or based on what the button looks like. If the icon looks like home, and then there's a frame that's named home, it'll lead there. Of course, I think when I was trying it out, or I was like looking at other videos, like it wasn't perfect all the time, but it does save like a lot of work up front, at least. The second one I'm really excited about, because I never do this, rename layers automatically, and that just, yeah, because my files are usually like very, well, I mean, they're fine, but it just takes, another few hours trying to rename everything, so I'm very excited about this.
So does it also use AI to try and name your layer automatically?
Yeah.
It reads whatever it is and then decides what that is.
Yeah.
I mean, I always name my layers. That would just name
Okay. Shape 1, rectangle 2, rectangle 3.
I don't know, I just do it the way.
So I can see like if you're doing something quick, then they just
Yeah.
Yeah, give its best guesstimate. And I think it can do that because we have the search with visual. So you can, if you have a frame, like you screenshotted a frame, it's PNG, you sent it out or emailed it to people, and now they're asking like, where is this? Can we make that edit? You can paste that into your Figma and then search for other frames that look like it, as long as it's in your team library. So I think other people were thinking like you could just search like anything like Mobbin, but no, it has to be within your library. But then you can also draw, like if you're looking for an icon, you can also draw that with the pen tool in Figma, and then it can search your library for an icon that looks like it too. Lastly, the last thing, which is exciting, or I don't know, maybe scary, we can generate our first draft, or I think they named it this way on purpose, generate your first draft in seconds. So you can, just like Adobe, if you're, you can write in a prompt like, I'm looking for a mobile landing page for a cooking app, then it'll just generate that design. And it's not a flat image. It has like all of the layers and auto layouts and type too. And what?
I think it had the wireframes too.
Oh yeah.
When it was like make the whole thing.
Yeah. So great. And then you can keep like keep generating. If it doesn't actually hit it, you can just keep, redoing it until it seems right. But of course, like my opinion is, or it'll always be the same. Like AI won't take designers' jobs, but designers who know how to use AI will. So, because of course, only the human brain can truly comprehend the situation and project brief at hand and understand people's like people are not as like rational as you think. So only another human brain can understand those ebbs and flows of another person. So I'm very excited to use that. It's not available yet, but I think it will be early next year. Another thing that they added is UI 3. And essentially it's, well, there's a lot of like great things about this. I think I kind of want to show it like maybe after this talk, but they've changed the like the tools bar. It's on the bottom now in the center. You can change the size of all the navigation panels, which I absolutely love. They changed like buttons for dev mode and like, you know, toggling on and off dev mode and design mode. They've taken out absolute positioning and now have like ignore auto layout, which I personally really like. Oh, they also have, I think this is also another AI feature of like automatically adding auto layout to your frames. Yeah, so that's going to just save like a whole bunch of time. But yeah, so I may try to show that. Code Connect is also very interesting. Not something I personally tried, just watched videos of. Oh, what do you think about that?
I haven't actually used it yet, but this is one of my favorite announcements. Like you can actually write code to connect your design system to your code base, essentially. That is a game changer in my opinion.
No, so beautiful. So I think you can open up Figma, and then they usually have like the code on the side, and then you can open up your whatever code program you have, and then you can save it in the code, and then it'll update in Figma. Yeah. So I'm excited to use this, but have not explored it yet. Oh, my favorite thing, because I'm using it right now, is Slides, or the unofficial name. It's Figma Slides, and it's their presentation program. So it really is super beautiful. You can use it for free right now. I'll give you like a little demo of that in just a second. But I think it's amazing, most importantly, because you can embed your prototypes in the presentation and navigate from there. Oh, where did the extras go? Is that good? Is that good? Extras.
I'm
Oh
actually
no.
super excited too. They actually put in like all the measurements for dev, like M and rem.
Oh yeah, there's
Prototype.
Yeah.
And I was waiting for that forever. I literally asked our Figma rep at work. It's like, when are we having this? It's like, oh, sometime soon. We finally delivered.
Yeah.
I don't know. Years.
I'll do a plus
Because
one.
everything was pixels. So
Yeah.
it's like,
For the responsive prototypes too, I think the responsive prototypes are really cool.
Yeah.
And like being able
Oh,
to
yeah.
dynamically change which device is being used in the prototype.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So you never have to make 3 frames for the same thing ever again. I don't know why this isn't showing here. So this is, we found a bug in Slides. It's not 100% yet, unfortunately. But maybe, hopefully you can just see this. Yeah. Oh, this is what I was talking about, add auto layout automatically. Oh, and this is exactly what you said, prototype for any screen size, like so amazing. So just set up your auto layout and then change your screen. I really like this. Here I can actually zoom in. They also added or like worked with Apple iOS and Google Material Design to have the UI kits like readily available. Like you don't have to go into the community. You could just go into like your assets panel and just bring it in from there. Ah, gorgeous. And then lastly, you can make pages in FigJam.
I used it yesterday. It was really good.
Yeah, right?
I didn't think you would be like using it so much. I was like, that's so stupid, but I used it.
Ooh.
It was good.
Yeah, because you never know. Definitely necessary. Yeah. Because like, usually, if you haven't used FigJam, it's just like a ginormous whiteboard. And then I put like a lot of just like, maybe there's just actual like 5 days of workshops in there. and then it gets like, it's just like a mess to zoom in and out, but now we have pages, so I'm very happy about that. I think those were all of the main updates, but so like I said, I wanted to turn it back to you all. If there's anything else you're really excited about or you're very not excited about. Yes, Abby.
I had a thought that I wanted to bring up before even talking about the different features, but for those of you who didn't go to config or thinking about it, it's like 18,000 people, which is a lot. And as an introvert, I was very overwhelmed because it's like, what sessions do I enjoy? I didn't see the agenda. But whether it's going to a conference or going to Tech Alley, I think one thing that helps me is to set my intention of like, what am I trying to learn or what kind of people am I trying to connect to? When I have those things in mind, I can anchor myself and like, okay, at least I have this goal to get out of this conference or this meetup. That way I'm not just going willy-nilly, but like going there with an intention of to learn something or to connect with someone new. So I just wanted to like throw that out there as a food for thought for others. And then in terms of the features, one thing that you didn't bring up was there's a feature for the AI to replace content. So like for the example of a cooking app, if you had different recipes, the AI would rewrite some of the different pages so that it can like guess for you. That way you're not using Lorem Ipsum text, which is really cool. I think for me, I work in health tech, and I'm not a clinical expert, so if the AI could be trained to use specific medications and specific doses, I think that'd be like a game changer, because right now I'm going to ChatGPT, asking it for different clinical knowledge and then pasting it in, so I think that would eliminate the need to go back and forth or try to find a plugin. So yeah, I think it'd be cool to use the image search, because a lot of times I'm like, does anybody know which file this is in? So I can just search for it in an AI tool.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that they bring it back sooner or later, because I didn't even have a chance to play with it, but in theory it looked really cool.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think like people, like there was a talk before about this guy that he scanned all of his notebooks or like other designs, and then he used Figma to archive all, like everything in it, but he retyped everything in white text, like put it behind the image, and then that's how he searched for everything. So yeah, a lot of people use Figma for this kind of archive use case.
I think that this is kind of like random, I guess, but one thing that I was surprised not to see is more AI tools related to design systems and creating design systems from mockups.
Yeah.
I know that there are some competitors, some competing products who are doing things similar to that, and I think, I mean, of course, like it wouldn't come up with a perfect design system, but I think that it would be awesome if I could like make some quick mock-ups and then have a starter design system ready to go, like make the color styles for me, make the text styles for me. I'm kind of surprised I didn't see more of that.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because there's maybe they will work on it, but I really see them, like if we have like 30 instances of a button and they're all very similar, like you could probably ask you like, hey, we see this recurring pattern, do you want to make this a component?
That's right.
Yeah.
Component set or some sort of variation.
Yeah, that's true. Or like here's other variations of it.
Because there is business tension with regards to how fast the design system's put together. And as us as designers, we're trying to make sure it's very thorough and clean, but business doesn't have time for that and have their business products. So like try to broker that, like how fast can we make this? I feel like Figma is like dropping the ball on that type of business opportunity. Because like AI for like content and other design tools is great, but design systems, it's just not, it's not there.
Yeah, and I also think too, it's probably, this is my theory in terms of their business direction, because they have such a vertical height in terms of the business model for just strictly designers and UX.
Yeah.
That they're trying to go wide, which is why it surprised me that they do the slides thing, because they're trying to do like almost like a Canva thing, and just say, hey, let's attack other sides of the market because we can now.
Well, the thing
maybe.
with the slides is that they also allow you to import your design system, so you don't have to at our job, we have our whole
Yeah.
library in PowerPoint, and it's not the same.
Yeah.
So it's really cool that you can just import things directly. So I understand why you made it, but it seems cool.
Yeah, no, I like it a lot. I mean, the fact that we are able to use variables all even within slides and everything else, it just makes it so much faster and better. I hope it kills my iPhone.
It'll only be $3 a month. I know. Gone is Loom. Yes.
This is a question maybe for the group, but I was talking to my teammates about this, of like, how do you guys feel about these AI tools being able to generate, like, oh, make me a screen or a flow that does this, where it makes it accessible for even PMs to start becoming designers. Are you guys in favor? Not in favor? What are your thoughts?
I'm in favor.
Product managers getting in there to create wireframes. Do you think that would replace designers, or do you think that would help in the workplace?
Well, historically, and I've spoken about this with several of you, historically, product managers were originally ones doing wireframes, and designers would just do the fluffy extra stuff on top of it. It was only later that it evolved to where they weren't doing that anymore, and UX designers were doing it. But there was a natural cadence to where, yes, product managers were in charge of the wireframes.
My experience is always the best product managers were UX designers.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Or at least had enough experience and knowledge to wireframe.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think sorry. I think at the end of the day it's fine. It just depends how much your design team cares about finessing the actual design.
Absolutely.
Like if they care that a designer's eye looks at it, or if they're just gonna put the product out as it is
Right.
from AI.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
personally think so.
Oh, no.
I personally think that wireframing is one of those things that should be handled by a designer. I feel like AI can give you a few examples of creative designs, but I feel like creating wireframes also requires a deep understanding of your target audience and problem that you're solving. So I feel like designers can really shine on making wireframes to innovate, right? I think that's where innovation can really be done.
Sure.
But then once you move past that point, it's okay, now maybe you can have a starter mock-up or something, once you have the overall layout established, right?
Yeah. I'd say also too, because I try to keep track of this as much as I can, which is frequently impossible. A lot of the auto sort of designers or designer co-pilots, a lot like code co-pilots that code with you or something like that. They almost kind of are your peer programmer, peer designer sort of situation, and will mock things with you, double your speed. But that's only based on the person who designed it.
Yeah.
So it's only your AI assistant will only be as good as your skill set. It will cap out at you. So even if you use a competitor like a Mural Auto Designer, like UIs, I think they just bought them out, I think, or whatever the version was. Or you use something like a UX Pilot with Figma, it's still based all on you. So you kind of take it or leave it.
And speaking of that, just an extension of that, and since it's based on you, then it really depends on who's holding that control room of something like wireframing, because there's a political problem with that too. We're dealing with a challenge between design and product where we don't know who actually is in control of the design. And some people with egos are going to feel very defensive if they can't have control over it. And AI cannot fix that education.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Don't hit the little bell.
Exactly.
That really interesting notes. Yeah, just to piggyback off. Yeah, I think PMs should, I've met a lot of PMs that can't, or they'll just give me user stories, at least notes, a checklist of requirements. But it does waste a lot of time if they can't at least do some sort of basic layout.
Right. And I think there's a skill set that I don't feel all PMs share, and it's the thought of being an educator in terms of here's the business requirements and why, and making sure that the designer is informed enough to make those decisions and have that trust, because some of the best camps I've worked with give me that sense of trust, but have so much knowledge over the ecosystem that I'm able to know how to do it well. And I've been recently the organization for RDO Health where they didn't give me any of that intelligence. And so my work ended up reflecting that lack. And they didn't know how to repair that because they themselves didn't know where to get information from, or even how to even can relay things that they figured out. So yeah, it's interesting.
I come from the flip path of like, oh, well, like, because since I work in finance, like, yeah, these product managers, product owners that are like, they've been deep in finance for decades. They've been on the trading floor, they've been in the New York Stock Exchange like the back of their hand. So they will give you all the basic context you need, and they're almost like, don't let me touch this. I don't know. That's you, man.
That's
like,
That's good.
That's literally like my PM all day. And like she was like, I'll put something in paint. That's it, man. Like that's all you get. I'll do the squiggly line over your design, and that's about it. Like you do your magic.
Yeah.
And then
those are
all the
the
business context. She'll lead me to SMEs, certain things about trading that I don't know, and then I proceed. So
yeah, I like those types of PMs.
yeah, I'm spoiled.
You were so spoiled.
Cool. Anyone else have qualms against Figma?
Qualms. Oh, you want to start with qualms?
I don't-
I tried my PM to Figma, but she gets
To share her qualms about it? No.
Let's see.
Come on, yeah, no.
Design stuff.
I always do.
Or other things you're excited about?
I mean, I've said it, because people have heard it, and that this bottom toolbar that they're now going to implement into actual Figma is disgusting. I can't deal with this bottom toolbar.
This thing right here?
Oh, yeah.
They're going to do it into actual design mode.
Why?
It's going to have, that's the new UI, that's the UI, whatever, 3.0.
So it's 2 panels on the bottom, right?
Yeah.
And the panels don't actually float. They look like they're floating, but you can't move them.
So
That too, yeah.
Float them if you can't move them like in Photoshop or something.
Like, I don't like clicking on this bottom toolbar.
And it's not customizable for
No.
So no. So
All right, let's have some qualms right now. Yeah, so
Yeah.
unmovable like UI.
I know, I wanted to make a design file, but I'm not.
I always think toolbars should be fully customizable for the designer.
Oh yeah.
Whether I mean, like I think Adobe's done a decent job with all of mine. I always have a saved
Oh yeah.
workspace.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
And I name it, and every time I play, it's like go back to my.
Absolutely.
I've been using the same workspace for 10 years.
So with that insight, it's actually making me wonder if Figma is so full of itself right now that they've ignored the insight of veterans of the industry
Yeah.
who have always rearranged their workspace.
Yeah.
Well, so when Valerie and I went to the conference, she said it was very RISD. Like it was just very like modern design and very like young design.
Yeah.
But because then the designers on their team are building new Figma inside of old Figma is what
Yeah.
they were saying.
Yeah.
And so it's their own preferences, I guess, but I'm like, oh, why would a designer of the same mindset as us want this layout? Like I don't understand where they're coming from with it.
Yeah.
Well, I think it reminds me too of in the blue shirt that what we were saying about how it's like they're casting such a wide net
Yeah.
with what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
That it's like it's one of those like what is the phrase where it's the jack of all trades master of none.
Yeah.
So like don't lose your master over this skill that you have.
They're going to turn into another Adobe XD.
I was going to say that. It looked like Adobe Express.
Yeah.
Just pour water on really good alcohol. That's
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
Man, I like this drink.
Well, I do like some like of the new features, like the AI to do the flows and auto layout. I really don't actually like how the new UI 3 looks, like Sophia said, because we can't actually move them. I think the corners look too round, and so it makes the. I wish I could show you. Unfortunately, I just didn't really hook up to the internet,
I
but
think it's essentially this Figma.
yeah, kind of like it's basically this, and then like this is longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like to me, a little too rounded. Like I don't know. Maybe it's because like I've been in like in a lot of design tools for a long time, and the sharp corners just make it seem like more professional. And I've never actually ever used contextual menus.
Yes.
There is a growing sentiment where, sure, there was a number of years where rounded everything was great, but it's like everyone's doing rounded now, losing context as to why it was being done in the first place, and now we're going into where we're preferring the edges, the sharp edges, and yeah, they're gonna update this again.
Yeah. Rounded corners is supposed to be like friendly for anybody. But like, doesn't that just insult the professionals in a way?
It does.
This is why I was saying I really enjoy Sketch's interface.
I-
It's so like heavy and it feels like you're a professional.
Absolutely.
I feel like it kind of has to be ugly, like some Adobe, like InDesign's ugly.
Yeah. But you feel like you're doing real work.
yeah.
And you're making something nice inside of it.
There's that level of friction that I feel they're ignoring. They're making it so frictionless that it's like, yes, it's easy for everyone to do, but you're right, we don't feel like it's working.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was some in the Ableton talk. Ableton is a company that makes like that music app, and they said their UI is so simple, but the UI isn't the reward. The music is the reward, and so it should be the same here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you were building a tool for function.
That's
Yes.
Not for me to look at and be like, oh, this is beautiful.
That's right.
Yeah. I want to be in the trenches, you know.
I'll actually contrast that a little bit and just
Yeah, go
say that I do think there's a level of, like, you don't want the tool to get in the way of your design.
Mhm.
Right?
And
I think
yeah.
at times, like, I find myself spending too much time learning how to use the tool
Yes.
instead of how to design the product, right?
Yeah.
And I will argue that.
Yeah,
I think
sure.
that I appreciate the fact that they're removing the friction so that way I can just focus on the design work and not worry about the constraints.
Oh, so not friction in terms of interaction, friction in terms of.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, this is the way all these roundedness,
Yeah.
and just the way they're trying to make it all fluffy and friendly.
Oh, okay.
It's the feel of that, not so much the accessibility of the functions.
Think about too, like if you have a program that you're working in that has a specific design style,
Yeah,
and now you're trying to design something else, and you have this
Yes.
style
I
that
agree.
is forefront for you,
I agree.
Yeah.
you're going to be influenced by that.
absolutely. Yeah, exactly.
Immediate bias. Alright. Put it in front of your face.
Yeah.
Now,
Some
everything
people
can be
don't have
rounded.
that issue. Like, I guess all of us in this room have that issue because we're all saying it, but some people don't have that issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, even if not everyone has that issue, it does kind of collate. It becomes the discussion at the end of the day upon execution, and it will sway enough people that it would change decisions.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're going to see a lot more rounded edges.
Oh, no.
We should take products that were designed in Figma and products that were designed in other software and see if we can see some
Differences. Oh, that would be interesting. Oh, yeah, that's fun. Okay, see.
Everything's material.
A different talk. Thank you. Figma versus other design tools. Huh.
It's meta design is something that not enough people do. They don't even touch that topic. It's the same thing with metacognition, how you think, right? Like meta design is so important. It's basically the essence of what we do as UX designers. And it deserves more discussion.
I agree.
Cool. Okay, for the next topic, actually, I did want to poll everybody because in the coming, I know I've kind of said this before, but I'm for real now. I will give more because you've been here like so many times and you're like, where is the Figma workshop? Like you never did the Figma workshop. But I will be creating a Figma workshop for the next one. I wanted to go around and ask everybody if you have any ideas or questions about that. Like what is something you're interested in making? Is it like maybe it's like certain micro actions? Micro interactions.
Yeah, interactions, micro interactions. Those are things I feel like I'm still weak on in Figma.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
Is
Yeah,
that
animate.
Boolean properties? Is that part of those separately?
Oh, Boolean properties?
I don't
Yeah.
know.
They're just like true false statements. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh, which Boolean properties are like
Conditional logic?
oh yeah, conditional logic.
Oh, yeah, conditional logic is something good.
Oh, yeah.
Component properties make that pretty easy now.
What did you say?
Component properties.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty easy. So,
Yeah, this was actually this.
I like conditional logic is to just reduce the amount of screens. Because before it's like,
Yeah.
blue spaghetti all over the place, and like 100 screens in, and you're like, all right, let's
No, that's true.
Like, conditional
Oh,
is just
responsive.
reduces the amount of frames, I guess.
Oh, yeah, because you might need to make a shadow frame to handle other conditions to compensate for that lack of directness.
Yeah.
That's
I think
Yes.
something that might be fun would be like a full prototype, like not just like a click-through prototype, but like a full present to an investor kind of prototype. Like if we were to do something like that in Figma.
And you can do it on slides as a
They-
deck.
Didn't someone create like Gallon on Figma?
What
Yeah,
kind?
they did Angry Bird on
I'm thinking like a mobile app or like anything, just something like a prototype that is presentable to a potential,
You can do that now. I mean, now that we have slides, like we can, but I mean, because we can embed all the prototypes there. There's people that have done Angry Bird games on.
Oh yeah,
It's
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, game interactions
I think
look
it was
really
like
cool.
last year, somebody took variables and literally just made the game in 24 hours or something like that. I was like, that's crazy.
For these workshops, are you guys? Would you want to bring in your laptops and work together,
Totally.
Sure.
or just follow? Yeah. Okay. Great.
a shareable resource, how much you.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Cool. I'll just let you all know before, or just keep bringing your laptops every time. Anything else? And it could be a kind of product too, as well.
I think,
Still,
well, go ahead, you go.
is this still on the topic of like workshopping in Figma?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just want to do a bare bones design system.
Oh what?
Oh, it's design.
Oh yeah, bare bones design system.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everyone has an opinion of how design
Yep.
systems work.
Yeah.
How you name them, how you structure them, how you.
And what elements you include, how much you componentize it.
Yep.
That was pretty much what I was gonna say. I was
Yeah.
gonna say we could create like a little design system together.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'd be cute. Okay.
Because I was talking to.
And
I
documentation.
was talking to Patrice, I don't know if Patrice there, but, and I was mentioning how, like, some people who manage design systems, they over-componentize their stuff to the point where most designers will have to break the components.
Yeah, they do.
Just
Oh yeah,
like,
just detach. Oh, it's
yeah,
detached.
it's just way
Detach is
too
my
much.
favorite shortcut, man.
No.
Great.
Oh
Great.
no. I talked to a couple like lead designers for design systems, and they kept crying about that. Yeah, they're like, everyone detaches and it keeps hurting and it hurts me. That's what they said.
Like art designers, well, I feel like they're a little bit clever. They actually make it so that they make their components because how they do it is they'll embed what they call a slot. I don't know if you ever mess with that.
Yeah.
You make a slot inside of your component so you can break it because you're supposed to break it. And the slot in itself can be replaced by whatever you make. So if you make a card component, for example, you put a slot, and the slot is like blank text or whatever
So that's
you
right.
want to do.
Yeah.
You could replace your own component inside of it and still keep the integrity of the actual component.
It's funny how people can make those slots and not realize they were doing that. But yeah,
It also keeps it like if your design system is like basically advocate or like your almost like the babysitter of it or the library person of it, you can still keep track of all your analytics because even though they're technically not broken, sort of broken, you can still track them all and customize them. So that's the slot way is like a really nice middle ground to not like to still keep integrity but still break whatever you need to. Boning.
Did you write that down?
I know. I was like, that was very long, and I'm like, I'll go on the recording. Slots. How would you say that in one sticky note? John.
Slot micro component inside of a bigger component. That's it.
yeah.
Or just say slot inside the card.
Slot inside of a car.
It's something I'm gonna have to see, 'cause I'm not getting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Yeah, me
You
too.
gonna leave that one?
Interesting. Yeah, you want to leave that one? The next month. Yeah.
Alright, you're gonna workshop.
You're gonna workshop.
Oh yeah. Actually, John may actually, because I'll be in London.
Oh, that's right.
So I have an idea. This isn't a Figma workshop.
No, that's fine.
Almost
Any
like
idea.
A counter idea to it.
Sure.
I am not a fan of monopolies. I'm sure many of us are
Sure.
probably not fans of monopolies.
Yeah.
I feel like it might be a cool thing to do if we were to look at comparable tools to Figma. Like, let's look at some other tools
Some people come back and sketch.
that are similar
Yeah.
to Figma.
I can
You
use
know what I
Sketch
mean?
like with my eyes closed.
Oh,
No, that's cool. Like ProtoPie,
Right.
I only use Figma because everybody else
Sketch.
uses it.
Yeah.
Envision, I think. Oh, that's right.
Envision is dead.
Well, let's just take a look at a video. Let's see why it's dead. Yeah.
I can show you how to use it, but it won't be here
Yeah.
past December.
I did want to ask people like, who does not use Figma?
We are Figma, relentless, resistance is futile.
Yeah.
It honestly is.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, really, I only learned it because everybody uses it. I learned on Sketch when Figma didn't exist.
Oh, right. Oh, maybe like a plugins workshop.
What's that?
Have you touched Acture?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's a prototyping tool before, or a design
Acture?
tool before Sketch, and it's Acture.
Photoshop.
It's more of a PC-based one. The only reason why I even like that one at all is because it has one of the most powerful prototyping tools.
Fracture?
Only because you can actually put coding logic in it, but it's not code. It's like you can kind of figure out what logic you want to place in it manually, I guess.
Okay.
The only problem with Acture is that it's just it's cumbersome.
Yeah.
Like it takes a load on the system.
Okay.
Is it called
No,
Facture?
AXURE.
Oh,
The other.
AXU.
No, no F.
Yeah.
Oh, Axure.
Yeah.
Axure. Okay.
Yeah, the other prototyping tool right now, it's currently free on beta, but it's AI powered as well as Create.
Create
AI.
like this?
AI.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, that's right. Like they did some certain auto layout sort of like features. I feel like they are probably going to do a more competitive edge in their AI capabilities compared to Figma, in my opinion. But I think that's just worth trying. If you want to compare Figma to Create to Sketch, they're doing some new things to it now too, and they're trying to bring people back. I saw their newer site and trying to bring people back. It's like, oh yeah, you haven't been here in a while. Check out what we changed. Cool.
Is framework put up there?
No, because Framer is only web-based, so you're only making React
like
TypeScript sort of website.
Yeah, that's very much like a no-code or low-code.
It's a no.
Yeah.
Same thing for Wix Studio. The Wix Studio is like more of a CMS too, so it can be a lot more.
It is cool.
That could be a different one.
Great, by the way, I mean, I love working in Webflow.
Well, those ones-
I love Webflow.
Oh, Webflow workshop
you ever use
by students.
you ever use Webflow with Relube?
No.
You're gonna be like lazy sauce making a site.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it'll do every wireframe for you, like off of a prompt. It's disgusting.
Okay, awesome. Anyone else want to add to this? Or anything in general that you want to learn in future or want to talk about in future meetups?
So now this is where I raise my hand.
Yes.
I think something that I'm struggling with at work is knowing what devs are looking for in design documentation or specs, like, oh, all of these edge cases, error states, things like that. So I think it would be helpful to bring in a developer and be like, this is what we think about when we're looking at your designs, or this is how we look at developer.
And also QA.
Oh,
Yeah.
QA.
It definitely be QA, because we can invite devs all the time, but QA doesn't usually get enough of a spotlight.
Yeah, I remember when Dev Mode was in its like early sort of beta. I show it to my developers, and then like me being a developer myself, I'm just like, this shit's useless. Sorry, it just is. I mean, it's getting better now. Don't get me wrong, but I think unless you have something like a storybook or whatever your login is, a Zeppelin or whatever, I think it's not as meaty as it could be.
Okay, cool. Okay, we have 7 minutes left. My last, I think I had another question okay, so you said knowing what devs are looking for and to bring other people in. Anyone have other product manager related questions or what stakeholders are looking for?
You're right. Stakeholders are looking for it, but ultimately, what is a good requirements page look like?
Ooh, okay.
Because everyone does a different version, and not everyone is aware or agrees upon it. Like, I think acceptance criteria, stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Acceptance criteria.
Yeah,
That's right. Does anyone else want to learn more about research? Because I have several really awesome research friends. Okay.
And research tools.
Research tools.
Yeah.
Okay. And synthesis. Cool.
I have a question about this.
Yeah.
How much research is enough research?
I mean, yeah, there is never enough, but like they say, you have to, if it's testing, they say, I mean, at least 5 tests. I mean, it's actually a lot smaller than what you think. And it depends on your product too. But the more, the better. Yes.
These are great ideas and suggestions. I guess one question I had is, how will we know which topics that you're going to do each one?
Oh yeah, no, that's true. That's definitely on me. Please join the LinkedIn. I will promise I'll do better at posting the event topic beforehand.
Did you just make this, or has that been around for a minute?
Oh, it's been around. But yeah, please join. I think you may be in there.
Maybe I just didn't.
Yeah, let me zoom in on this very low res QR code. But yeah, I'll post about it, and then actually I do want to do more polls. And then if you've noticed that I take notes, I'm also going to start, I'll build a community page for us where you can find all the past presentations and notes, and then the links to the videos. Yeah. Cool. Any last topics? Is there a burning question that someone can answer for you? Or is anyone working on a side project and you would like feedback from this group in the future? Because I do, but I want to know. What? Portfolio review? Oh, okay. Right. Portfolio review. Cool. Well, yes.
Who's got my money?
I think that's a different session.
We're designers, we don't talk.
Like a section in our LinkedIn group where we could just do like, hey, I updated my portfolio, can I get feedback from our group?
Yeah.
You know?
So then we definitely need more engagement on the page.
Yeah,
Page,
you
yeah.
can try it on Reddit, but it's like,
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
There's a little selfishness on Reddit, and
Yeah.
it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Are you all interested in being in Slack or Discord,
Slack is fine, I love Slack.
or just living in LinkedIn groups?
Whichever.
Okay.
Well,
I mean, I'm always connected on Slack, I'm always on Slack, so.
Oh, okay, cool.
I'm online all the time.
Yeah, I like that
it
too.
really depends on membership intake. So if everyone's on LinkedIn, but not everyone's on Slack, splits.
Okay. Cool. Okay. All right, awesome. Well, I mean, that's honestly like all for me. It was just the Figma review, wanting to talk about these features, and then talked about the improvements for next time. So yeah, thank you all.